Hello, thank you for joining us for this session of The Keep. We are glad you are here.
Woo!
Before we jump into the story today, we do have a couple of announcements that we need to get through. So let's start with, as always, Take This. They are an awesome nonprofit organization dedicated to decreasing the stigma and increasing awareness for mental health issues in the gaming community. And I don't know about y'all, but it is with what has happened in the past year and some of the things that are already happening this year, it is much needed. So they do some really good work. They have some awesome resources.
I gotta turn the oven off.
Thank you, Garrett. That was delightful. Check them out. Donate if you can. Spread the word if you can't. Find them on social media. They have a pretty awesome Twitter feed. And speaking of Twitter, you should also check out our social medias. We are The Keep RPG across forums. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, and TikTok. I cannot forget the TikTok.
What?
So check out our other feeds for some cool content. A lot of our Instagram is some of the minis and maps that we use. So if you want a little look behind the DM screen at some of my resources, you can definitely check those out.
Are future minis going on there?
Unless they have already been used in the campaign, I don't specify whether they are named or not, or whether they are in a specific location or not. They just, they exist. They exist.
For the record, I still have the hit point guesses, and everybody's written down for, which I don't remember which mini it was, but they're still there.
Wasn't it the giant cube?
I don't have an Instagram.
The magic slime, the magic eater slime.
Was that what it was?
Yep.
Okay. I still have it written down.
Gigantic ooze or whatever.
Yes, the mother slime. She was fine. So we can post some pictures and you can check those out at some point soon. Also on social media, you should totally check out Garrett and Jay and their YouTube channels. Jay, did you want to say anything about Pandaverse?
We did our first beta test of Century Age of Ashes, which is a basically a dragon dogfight simulator game. It was fun. I got to ride around on a dragon and shoot fireballs at people, and it was fantastic.
That's rad.
And get eaten by a dragon myself. So Friday nights, come check us out. The Pandaverse on Twitch and YouTube. It's fun.
Cool beans. And then Garrett has Night Shift Night.
Oh God. Hi, I'm here. I do stuff on the Yoke Tubs. Lately, I've been getting very chesty. I've been working on chest armors and more chest armors and more chest armors. That's upside down. So yeah. That's stuff. Anyway.
Very cool. Definitely check them out. It's a lot of fun. Also, things you should check out. We co-host with Dinner and a Game. And they are going through and doing some awesome things. It looks like they're restarting their dinner conversations, which is always interesting and informative. So go check them out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Dinner and a Game. One other thing before we jump in. We have a new episode of Keep Lounging coming up next Tuesday, the 30th at 7 p.m. Central Time at twitch.tv/TheKeepRPG. Jay, who are you talking to this time? Can you say?
I can say that we have a plan to talk to someone. Which one of our two remaining cast members. Which one will be a surprise?
To everybody,
myself included.
Sometimes we plan things. Sometimes we forget to tell others that we plan things.
We had a plan. Text messages were sent but not received, and so some things happen last minute.
Other professionals.
We are definitely professionals. We just never said professionals at what.
Never trust technology.
I thought it was never just a bunny.
Driving
No.
correct.
You know, the sad thing is the person that was on the schedule lives with me, and I still texted him.
Never
That's how
trust
often
funny.
we see each other.
Life as a communications major and graduating that, never trust technology.
So yeah,
Cool beans.
That sounded like a self call out.
We will have a Keep Lounging on next Tuesday, the 30th, and it will be fun and interesting and good conversation, and you should totally check it out. Once
you can also
again,
check
that's
out
it.
our previous ones on the YubTub, as Garrett calls it, and soon-
Tub!
hopefully this tomorrow, or yesterday, sorry, forgot pre-recording things, but yesterday when this airs on iTunes and Spotify and things of that nature, if technology works the way it's supposed to. So more on that.
So in other words, don't count on it. But we'll get it set as soon
We'll
as we
see.
can to make it as
Right.
easy a transition as possible. So thank you. We will definitely see you there. I believe that's everything.
I think so. Oh God.
Right. Let's go ahead and jump into this. So, when last we left our heroes, the 11th hour had spent a frantic morning rescuing Vanera, engaging fiendish forces in combat, and then splitting the party. Always a good idea. Meeting with Gertie after seeing Ryan Halberd off, Val had a conversation with Sarai at Gertie's, where he offered an apology for compromising her agency and making decisions about her life for her. He spoke with Gertie and got some new information about the state of the city and the current affairs, only to be interrupted by Harker with barely enough time to get Sarai and Val away to safety before Gertie's shop was subjected to a raid by the Dragon's Guard. Val watched the activity around the shop from afar, having a confrontation with both of the Silver Dragonborn when Harker attempted to get Sarai to safety in the catacombs after the raid was over. Sarai didn't appreciate his attempt to make decisions for her once again after just getting the apology an hour before. Solyax and Kazator and Doran made
Hello.
a grand entrance into Dragonthrone upon horses that Kazator had acquired for the three of them. Kazator
was
and
there.
Doran,
I summoned
yes. You posed as valets acquired in Solyax's travels. You learned a little bit about the disparities between knights, squires, and valets in Dragonthrone and planned a little bit of mischief while you were at it. Solyax reunited with Desmond, got a perspective of the recent events, relatively similar to what you had gotten from Sarai, but with a significant difference in perspective. Keeping his diverging opinions of the Church of Bahamut to himself, Solyax maneuvered through the conversation with some amazing doublespeak, learning the plans that Desmond had for Solyax during the Feast of Strength and meeting Aura, Desmond's assistant, an acolyte in the church.
I wrote that down, didn't I? Yeah.
I hope so.
Halberd,
It's a trap.
Halberd and Rye, being concerned for Vanera's safety, took her through the library to the chapel, another ancient sanctum. The Oracle of Bahamut has been cursed, and the priests at the chapel did a little bit of research and discovered that they are able of assisting in this situation. And they offered Halberd and Rye a chance to participate in the ritual to cure the Oracle, to restore Vanera back to health and wholeness. And the two of them agreed to assist. We are going to pick up with those two as they are being led to the chamber where the ritual is about to take place. You are met at the door by Lance, this gnome cleric of Baranar True Silver, who had sort of diagnosed Veneer's condition in the first place. He pulls you slightly to the side, as Halberd is still carrying Venera and Rye coming along. And he says to the both of you, before we begin the ritual, I do want to make sure that you are informed of what is to happen in order to ensure your understanding and consent of these matters. It's very important. From what we understand, the child is under a two-part curse, one part physical and one part spiritual. We seek to address both issues in this ritual. The physical healing is well within our capabilities. We do seek your aid in addressing the spiritual. The infernal forces that you described seem to deliver a toxin to weaken the bond between the child and her deity. And somehow, in so doing, it weakened her spirit's hold on her physical body. Her spirit is cast adrift, untethered, neither physically present nor truly gone from this world. Your aid will be in calling to her spirit, or helping to recall memories or physical sensation, or beseeching her deity for aid, anything that may repair the bond, the connection between physical and spiritual would be helpful. Now, this is not entirely without risk to you. You send a piece of your spirit to connect with the child in this ritual. Even if all goes well, you may very well suffer some level of exhaustion. Do you have any questions before we begin?
So many.
I do not know.
And you, sir?
I have all the questions and none of the questions, and everything matters and nothing matters at this moment. So we are.
If only there was time for an interrogation.
There is always time for interrogations. We can make time for interrogations.
Call the meta pigeon. Call.
Why are you talking to yourself? I just heard the friend of my dwarf friend voice in my head. I don't know. I was trying to communicate across cyber spheres, I think is the word. No.
I'm a troublemaker.
So is this attempting to beseech her back, or is this a cry to Bahamut? Like, I'm a little fuzzy on how the spirit and the body work, if you'll forgive me. Or is it a little bit of both?
In this particular case, it is in fact a bit of both. Because of the damage this toxin delivered to the bond between her spirit and her body, we're not entirely sure how that came to be so directly connected to her bond with her deity. But whatever it is that connected there, it has been damaged, and that damage has caused her spirit to be adrift. Now, beseeching the aid of her deity, you said Bahamut, is that correct? Beseeching the Platinum Dragon's assistance in this matter is what is acceptable. Calling to her and gaining her attention, guiding her spirit back to her body, that is also completely acceptable. If you have any other assistance, a connection that may bring her home, anything of that nature would only help.
No pressure, guys.
Yeah, right. Nothing.
Now, if you are concerned, we do feel confident that we would be able to, with time, repair this connection ourselves. There's no pressure upon either of you to assist. It is potentially dangerous to your own health and well-being. As I said,
is that the only cause of this? Would it cause damage to, if we were somehow to not succeed in this, cause further damage to her separation, or?
in this case, that is extremely unlikely. Unless you were deliberately engaging with her spirit with malicious intent, which I don't perceive from either of you. What you try will not cause harm.
Then I have no issue with participating in this.
Very well. Do you have any further questions?
No. Well, I figure now is the time to go ahead and begin.
Then let us begin. A place is prepared for her. You see, the room itself, the chamber, is round. There are 5 other priests of various deities that are here in the circle, prepared to assist in this ritual. There is a place in the center that is set up specifically for Venera to comfortably recline on, a place for her to rest as her spirit is recalled from wherever it has gone. Lance points to 2 spots in a circle surrounding her. You see there are 3 spots that are open in this circle. The other 5 priests have taken their positions, and there's a spot for each of you and one for Lance as you are preparing to engage with this ritual. There is a fragrant incense that fills the air. You notice as you look around, the cushions and the heraldry of this room is silver and blue in nature, designed very reminiscently of the colors of Bahamut that you have seen in his various temples. And while none of the priests here are specifically sporting particular heraldry of Bahamut, they are all prepared to assist in this ritual. Lance gestures for you to lay Venera in the center.
I'll go ahead and put her down, I guess, and then kiss her forehead and take my spot where I'm supposed to be, because I've done way too many of these ritual ceremony things.
While Halberd's getting Venera settled, Raya's gonna send just a quick silent prayer to Bahamut.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have no right to ask anything of you, but if I can do nothing else today, I would at least beg you to send Venera Donna so she has just a moment of comfort.
Roll a d20 and add your wisdom modifier.
Convince a demon.
That's not good at all.
That's the spirit.
It can only go up from here.
It's a 5.
Really, though,
5.
that's the spirit. I'm a terrible person.
You say this prayer, and you're sort of waiting. There's this moment of anticipation where you're hoping that your prayer has been heard. You don't feel any particular change. Nothing negative, but nothing signaling anything positive either. And the moment passes. Lance gestures for the 2 of you to find a spot, and he asks, do you know which of you will prefer to go first?
Gonna look at Rye and offer, because it's always polite to offer ladies first, but if she doesn't want to, I'll go first.
Is a depth of connection important in the order?
Not significantly, no.
Then I don't have a particular. If you would prefer to go last, that's fine with me. I can go first.
It doesn't matter. Whatever you're comfortable with.
I guess I'll go first.
Very well. I will gesture to you when it is time for whatever you are going to do. You are prepared?
I suppose.
Then let us begin. And as you take your spots, the priests begin to chant. The smell of incense becomes stronger, and there is a small wind that begins to pick up through this entirely enclosed room. It is warm and welcoming, like a balmy breeze on a spring day. There's something about it that's discomforting. And the priests begin to chant, and they chant for a good 10, 12 minutes or so. And you can feel the power beginning to build. Venera's body begins to glow with a soft silver light. And as the light begins to noticeably increase, Lance looks over at Eri and nods.
So she's gonna start with trying to send like emotions or feelings to draw Venera's own memories, because Rye doesn't have a lot of interaction with Venera. Thinking about study and the aunts and just like family, that connection of family, thinking about the mentoring that she got with Donner, hoping that reminds her a little bit of Sarai, the warmth and the comfort every single time she went to the Temple of Bahamut. And then the last thing that kind of comes into Rye's mind is just like trying to feed strength to her, like, you can do this, you can make this. And a very vivid memory from when Rye is 15 kind of goes through her head, and she just gives the whole thing to Venera. And Rye's sitting on a bench facing a door, and the door opens up, and there's an argument that you can see kind of happening inside, but a man comes out and closes the door. And he's about medium height, dressed real nicely, like a acquisitions librarian. He's got like deep, warm skin and serpentine features and bright green eyes. And the part that she wants to actually start off with is a little bit later. So the beginning is a little fuzzy of her she can't ever divorce this from this memory of him coming and kneeling down in front of her and saying, "You do not need manners, fledgling." But the clear part that she wants to give to Venera, he looks at her and says, "You have everything you need at this moment for the path you are going to walk. You do not cede your space to anyone, least of all the unworthy. You will not give them victory, not in your heart and not in your mind. You will not be broken." And he stands up and he holds his hand out to her and he says, "Now come along, you have a life to live." And as he says that, Rye whispers it herself, "By Bahamut's grace, Venera, come along, you have a life to live."
As you speak these words, you feel the glow intensify. Go ahead and roll a d20 and add your persuasion modifier.
18.
The power begins to grow. You feel Donner's hand in yours again. And you would swear there's a greenish tint to the light as it begins to surround Venera. You step back, and the chanting continues for another little bit. A few moments later, Halberd, Lance looks at you, meets your eyes, and nods, and it is your turn.
Well, I'm going to look at the little girl laying out and just close my eyes. And if you will, I just speak very softly. You know, my beautiful lass, thrice now. Thrice I've come in and I've been there and saved you when you needed saving. But realistically, I wonder if 3 times maybe it was you who actually saved me. Connecting me back a little bit more. Maybe, just maybe, there was a bit of love and life and goodness still in a dark world. So I'd ask you if you might come back and rescue me a fourth time and bring a little bit of that light back with you. I'm not ready for you to go just yet. Then I'm going to refocus and look down and take a very humble posture. So, well, our first meeting at this little girl was less than reverent or respectful. But I think I can see a little bit of how you've been working. And I might not know many of the ways of the gods, but I also know it was you who chose her. And she didn't necessarily know what was going on. And I know that you have your eye and your hand on her. And realistically, we can do everything that we desire, but you're ultimately the one who has the ability to bring them back. So if you'd be okay letting the world have a little bit of light yet, and maybe a bit of a mouthpiece of someone that we could all stand to hear more from, I would be deeply grateful if you broke the power that held her and sent her back to this world.
Go ahead and roll a persuasion check for me.
15.
15. Awesome. Okay. The light begins to glow even brighter. And at this point, you glance around at the priests. You can see the effort and the toll it's taking on them. You feel it yourselves, where there's this draining of energy from within you. Like you're using muscles you didn't know you had, and it's exhausting to try and get them to work in the first place. It's this sense of reaching out, of struggling to make this connection. And you blink, and suddenly you can see it almost. You see Vanera in an expanse of dark space. And she's not scared, she's not worried, but she's lost. And you look at her and you call her. You reach out to her with this new sense of stretching muscles that you haven't ever really used before, not consciously. And you feel you've got her attention, and she turns towards you, and you feel the sensation of something flying past you. You feel air moving around you, like the downbeat of wings of something flying and guiding overhead, guiding her back towards you. You stretch out your hands. You take one of her hands in yours. You blink again. And you're back in the chamber of the ritual. Her body is before you on the cushions, reclined. It's oddly silent. The priests are done chanting. You have no sense of how much time has actually passed. But you're focused on Vanera in front of you. Her breathing is calm, and you see her eyelashes flutter, her eyes open, and meet your gaze. She just has a moment of clarity. You realize a moment of actually looking at you, which is odd. That's not something that you have ever really experienced from her outside of when the deity is inhabiting her and speaking through her. There's this moment of perfect lucidity. And she says, "Thank you. You called me back. It's nice to see you." And then she blinks, and her eyes open, and her eyes have returned to the sightless state that you're more accustomed to seeing from her. You have both taken a level of exhaustion, but the ritual has been a success.
That's a good lass. That's a beautiful lass right there. I've ever seen one. I'm just going to pick her up and give her a hug.
She hugs back, wraps her tiny little arms around you. I wasn't scared, you know. I knew someone would come for me.
Well, you're very brave. You're probably the bravest person I know. I didn't think you were scared at all.
Not even, well, I shouldn't lie. Maybe just a little bit.
Not enough to mention.
I had good company.
Did you now?
He was very kind. Her form shifts, and her head, that had sort of been leaning against Halberd, turns to look in Rye's direction, roughly. He says hi, and not to worry. He knows you miss him. He says to give you his best.
I'm going to motion over to Ryan. Come on.
She'll come in and just, kind of take Halbert's hand and trying to gather herself. Thank you, darling. I'm glad he found you.
Me too. And she yawns and lays her head back against Halberd. I'm tired.
Vanilla, darling, I need you to stay up just a little bit longer because we've got a very weird situation, and I don't want you to go to sleep and wake up with something completely different.
She sort of nods, with her head still laying against Halbert's chest.
Do you remember anything that happened after you went to sleep?
Not really. It was normal, and then it felt like I was moving, and then I was asleep, but it was different, and I couldn't wake up.
Some very bad men came to take you, and we got them, so you're safe. But to keep you safe, we had to take you to a different place, and unfortunately Sarai wasn't able to come. So the people here are good, and they will take care of you. And I'm hoping that maybe we can get Sarai here so you're not alone. But darling, we can't take you back there because we don't want them to do that again.
But is Sarai okay?
She's doing very, very well. She's got... Maria's going to pause, thinking about who's actually there. She's got Haka there.
And she's got the cleric there with her as well.
Hurtful. True, but hurtful. Yeah.
And Miss Gertie's still there, and I actually have a present for you. And you can't use it until tomorrow. And I'm going to take out the sending stone that I have, and I'm going to give it to her and say, this lets you send messages to people 3 times every single day. It has to be very short messages. 25 words. Can you count to 25?
No,
25 words. 25 words. But 3 times a day you can send messages, and I'm going to get the other one to Sarai, so you can talk to Sarai if you need to, and you can hear her voice. And if for any reason something goes wrong, you can tell Sarai, and she will be able to get us to you very quickly. All right?
All right. Are you going to stay with me?
Unfortunately, darling, we have to head back. The bad men who tried to take you, they're trying to take other people too. They're trying to take the whole city, so we're trying to stop them. But we need you to be safe first, so that we know we can take care of them without having to worry about you.
I think we might be able to stay for a little while.
And I've got my cousin study. He's not too far away, so I can see if he can come and visit you on occasion. I think you'll like him very much.
He's a good man.
If you both like him, I'm sure we'll be good friends.
I think right now it might be best to get you some food, though.
I have a thing for that as well, and I'll take out the fruit that I stole from the ants and give it to her.
I'll just keep robbing her to get all the information.
She gets it into her hands, and she brings it up and she smells it. And you see this grin widen on her face, and she just bites into it, and the juice starts dribbling down, and it starts getting on Halbert's shirt a little bit. Because I don't want to be alone. But Sarai says that Bahamut is always with us, and so we're never really alone. And you said I can talk to her tomorrow?
I'm going to see if I can get, because there's still one message left on this, so I'm going to see if I can get her the other one today. That way she can talk to you at least once today. And then you made a new friend as well. Maybe you can try talking to him.
Yeah, I can talk to him.
He's a very good listener.
Yeah, he is. Okay. You need to go soon, don't you?
You know, you go ahead and take your time. And I'll kind of squeeze Halbert's hand a little bit and say to him as well, take your time. And I'm just going to go stand outside the room.
I'm just going to pick her up and start following you, find a place that we can take her.
Say that one more time?
I'm going to follow Rye a little bit and just, is there a place we can take her someplace safe while we're still here? Get her a place to rest a little bit, get some more food. I know that this fruit is wonderfully delicious, but maybe a little bit something more substantial as well.
You start heading out the door, and you see Kenrick, the tiefling who had sort of first assessed the dire situation that Vanera was sort of in. And he is sort of posted outside the door waiting for you, and he gives a brief bow, and I'm so pleased to see the ritual was successful. Is there anything I can do for you? Anything that you require?
I think we're just looking for a place to find some place to rest for the young lass right here.
Certainly.
Maybe some
A chamber has been prepared for her. Refreshments, of course, can be provided. And forgive me for saying it, the two of you both look quite tired also. Are you wishing to rest here?
I could do this all day.
I do think once Vanera is settled, we probably need to head back.
Well, let me show you to her chamber then, and refreshments will be brought along also. This way. And Kenrick gives another bow and guides you through the hallways to a lavishly furnished chamber. And you walk in and you see everything is sort of child-sized, but you notice it's all sort of against the walls. There's nothing really protruding, no sharp edges. It's very open. And there is a small walking stick that has been placed just inside the door. Everything is softly textured and colorful, designed for kids, even though it is giving this sort of accession to her blindness and the issues that she may have with it. There's a comfortable bed, several soft cushions and chairs, and a small shrine that has already been dedicated to Bahamut in this place. She is more than welcome to stay here for as long as it takes for her to recover. And if she wishes, she's more than welcome to undergo training with any of the acolytes that are here. Is that something you...
I think that's something for Vanera to determine. But maybe if there's someone her age, so she could have a couple friends.
There are a few who have been gifted great power at a young age. I'm sure they would welcome her warmly.
Good company.
I'm gonna just whisper in her ear, you have to make sure not to show them up too much.
She looks up at you and just gives you a very unsubtle wink. Like someone has explained to her what it is and how to do it, but it doesn't quite convey the subtlety that most do.
Yeah. Yep. That sounds about right. I think not too much, but don't forget to actually show them up. Just a little bit. Then I guess before we get ready to roll, making sure she's safe, I'll give her a kiss on the forehead and set her down. All right. Planning on being back as fast as I can. I'm gonna reach in my pocket and fish out the silver ring with the sapphire stone and give it to her. Put it on a little piece of rope and hang it around her neck. All right. Well, I don't want to have to go, and I'm sorry that I do, but save up your stories. I'm looking forward to hearing your adventures, and be safe. Please be safe.
I think I will be.
I'm gonna look
These
at
halls
Rob.
are warm and welcoming.
Yeah. I think this is a safe place. Safe place with safe people. I can't wait to see you again. Give her another kiss on the forehead, stand up.
As you begin to pull away, she reaches out and grabs for your sleeve or your hand. And she gets about 3 of your fingers. And she turns towards you. She says, "You be safe too. Dangerous days are ahead. Walk carefully. And then let you go."
Well, the eye's different there or not.
They were very directly focused. There was no particular glow from them as you've experienced before, but it was very direct in a way you're not used to seeing from her.
I'm definitely going to kiss her hand. Safe isn't always what I do, but I think I'll make an exception for you. I'll stand up, look at the statue, the shrine to Bahamut, and salute and bow. As always, she's in your keeping. Maybe keep us in your keeping as well, if you don't mind, please. And very briskly walk outside, strict military-esque, trying to fight back, wanting to stay.
Right, you watch as Halberd turns away and you prepare to turn and follow him. You see a candle lit on the shrine. You're pretty sure it wasn't lit before. And yes, it is a green candle.
Double magic.
Rye's just gonna whisper, "Thank you," and follow Halberd out.
Okay. Vanera starts curling up under a blanket, her head pillowed comfortably, and you follow him out. She prepares to fall asleep. Kenrick meets you outside. Shall I guide you to the exit then, or have you further business here? You're more than welcome to stay and rest, but I sense an urgency.
Unfortunately, yes. My cousin may be coming by frequently to see her. And then I don't know if it will be an issue, but there might be others connected to the world and the situation Vanera is dealing with that we may need to see about providing them refuge as well.
They're more than welcome in our halls. We are here to shelter and to guide.
Thank you.
Albert gives
Of
us
course.
a bow. Very rigid now. Well,
He returns your salute in crisp decorum.
back to the world that I don't want to be on.
Brief stop, though. I do need to see study about getting the other sending stone. And I'd like to stop by my quarters. I have had the same change of clothes, and it's just very boring on the eyes.
No, I understand. I think I might be able to make my way back to your garden, and you can find me there.
If you should like it, you're also welcome to follow me and take a bit of a tour to further places.
Maybe staying in this spot would not be the healthiest of mindset, so I will take you up on that offer. And I'll follow her off.
Okay. So Kenrick guides you back towards the entry foyer of the chapel. The doors open and you emerge back into the Temple of Ayun at the library where you had originally entered into and crossed paths with the Sanctum. And we're going to go ahead and pause there very briefly and jump over to Kazator and Doran.
Absolutely.
I am. The dwarf is currently having a bit of a internal crisis because stealth mission, sneaky things, but also what is going to happen?
Okay.
Let's
To
find out.
set the scene before y'all,
Yes.
you are in a room with about 12 to 15 other people. And it's a fairly large room. And you're noticing a pretty strict divide. There are about half a dozen squires who are stationed around the bar. A number of them are older and well-established. From what you've been able to gather, these are probably the ones who are testing for their knighthood here at the Feast of Strength in just under 2 weeks. There are a few other younger squires, and the rest of the individuals in this room are valets, bodyguards, and assistants to the knights that they are traveling with or assigned to, who have come and are stationed here probably for the Feast of Strength and the celebrations that are upcoming. The Dragonborn or the squires are all Dragonborn to a person. There's a little bit more racial diversity in the valets. You're seeing humans and halflings, a dwarf, a couple other Dragonborn in much simpler garb, a gnome sort of tinkering with something over in the corner.
I assume the squires are all wearing like the silver and blue. Are the are the valets also wearing the colors of the Bahamut?
In one form or another, yes.
Okay.
The squires are dressed much more ostentatiously, much finer armor and garb, higher quality too. It looks like more lavishly decorated, fancy dress to maintain appearances. The valets and the bodyguards are dressed much more simply. You notice though that they are not wearing armor.
Right.
They have a knife that each of them carries on their waist, a couple of tools, various accoutrements that they carry with them, but not heavily armed, not armored. The squires are armored, but they don't have any particular weaponry that you can see on them at this point.
Oh, I potentially stand out. This could be bad.
You could say that.
Because I know that one guy last week was giving me the stank eye or something. He was not fond of me. I offended his sensibilities.
Vincent, the valet that y'all followed in here?
Yeah, I don't remember what I said, but
It was more the the reverence that you seemed to hold for the arbiter as you addressed him, even when not in his presence. And he figured, okay, you're a company man. You've drunk the Kool-Aid. This is not someone that he can be super
That's what it
comfortable
was.
with.
Well, 'cause I
Kazator
thought
was
we
slightly
were-
more relaxed in that and had seemed slightly more engaged with him.
I'm gonna murder Casator.
Okay.
So you are in this room.
Right.
What
that.
are y'all doing? You're overhearing them. A couple of them are bragging about raids they've accompanied their masters on. Their night masters having participated in these to bring the unfaithful back in line with the doctrine of the church, and to make sure that proper procedure has been followed, and that all due taxes have been paid, and the charters that they have been assigned are being fulfilled. And they're very proud of the work that they've done with that.
So it's a fun party bunch, huh?
Yeah, there are a couple of them, especially the couple that are older, the three or so that stand out as sort of the leaders of the group, who are they're complaining a bit now. While some of these are bragging, they're complaining a bit about how their night masters have been invited to these meetings, and usually they go everywhere with their night masters. That's part of being a squire, is following along with them. But they have not been permitted to go to this, and they are very upset. Their dignity has been offended, and there's one that has been most vocal in that. And he's basically, he's talking about how his uncle is his father's younger brother, and how his father will hear of this and will not stand for this. This is dishonor and
this I remember.
Disgrace.
Dishonor on your cow.
Good movie. Very good movie.
I'll do that tongue thing.
Dragon. So that is the scene before you.
Okay.
What are y'all choosing to do?
This guy, this Dragonborn you said is complaining about his uncle, and is he also one of the? Because I think you said there were one or two that were being the most boisterous.
I have one last question too.
Yes, Kizator. And what's your question, Doran?
Like these squires and I guess the guys who we're pretending to also be
The valets.
ages. Yeah.
Squires are younger.
Yeah.
You'd guess the youngest of them is probably 16, 17, and the oldest is like 20 to 22. From what you've seen, the oldest is about on par with the age of Solyax.
Mm-hmm. And the squires, they're the
Those
same?
are the squires.
That's,
the valets.
That's all lumped.
Yeah, the valets are older. None of them are as young as the squires are. There's a range of ages. From what you would guess, probably the youngest of the valets are mid to late 20s, and the oldest go well into middle age.
Okay, good. Because I just had another sudden panic moment of like, oh God, we stand out even further if we're like that much older.
Kazator is a bit on the older side. He's just his general appearance, is a little bit older than most of the others, but not terribly so. Not exceptionally noteworthy.
But dang, I make it look good.
You right?
Okay.
Yeah, you do.
So, and you said the oldest of these look like Solyak's age, like early to mid 20s, maybe.
Not even mid 20s, probably early 20s.
Cool. So, having mentally communicated with Doran at the end of last session, just something to the effect of, "Shall we put these pups in their place?" I will casually walk towards the one complaining and boasting the loudest.
I will follow my friend, a couple steps behind.
This is gonna be amazing.
To the pit of chaos.
Concerned about what's about to happen.
What's your passive perception, Kazator?
20.
20. Okay. As you start walking forward, you get about halfway across the room. you notice the valets just fall silent.
Good.
There had been a quiet murmuring among the group, and it's just this brief moment of complete and perpetual silence as all of their attention is now focused on you and seeing what you're doing.
You know what's stupid? This is a game, not even real life. And if I laid down and put a quarter on my chest right now, it would be bouncing.
Yeah, no.
Good to
Best game ever. Makes you feel stuff.
I was shaking so hard earlier, so I understand
Oh, no.
completely.
I'm getting
Okay.
that like nervous. Oh God.
Now you know me last week.
Cause stealth mission
Okay.
though.
Okay.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I'm gonna start making my way towards that group, and direct my voice towards the boisterous one.
Okay.
And-
This particular boisterous one that you've sort of singled out is a brawny golden dragonborn.
Oh no.
He is.
Oh no.
Excellent.
He is well dressed. The embroidery on his blue tunic under his armor is exquisitely detailed. Small dragons chasing each other, of course, in golden thread. What else would it be? He sort of glances up at your coming and dismisses you, going right back to his conversation.
Good. I'm gonna put where in. This is Dragonthrone, yes.
All Dragonthrone things are done in the key of C, apparently. Makes it easy for him to remember.
I mean, that's fair. It is an oceanside town, city.
He's going in my notes as Gold Dragonborn Punk. So I will
That's not what I wrote.
head towards that direction and leveling my voice at him, just say, "It's very impressive, my good golden friend. I was wondering if you might be available for children's parties."
He looks at you and then looks around at the other squires around him. He's got a silver dragonborn also in this squirely garb. She is more delicately built, but still very, very muscular and brawny. And on his other side is a copper dragonborn.
Does the Wi-Fi still work right now? Was that spell like a one and done, or can we keep talking?
Queso, towards your telepathy. Do you have it pulled up with you, or shall I look it up?
I have it right here, Awaken Mind. I believe as long as I'm keeping the line open, as it were, but I will read you exactly what it says. So Awaken Mind says you can telepathically speak to any creature you see within 30 feet if it understands at least one language. So
Well, I'm currently thinking really hard. What is your plan? What is your plan here? What are we about to do?
He hears back, "A lesson in humility."
Okay. As you approach, this golden dragonborn sort of looks over to his left and looks at his right, and then it's just like this look on his face says, "Really? Can you believe this guy?" And he starts laughing, and he's like, "You think you're funny? No."
It would just seem that you've learned how to follow a master like a show dog of sorts. I didn't know if you might be available for hire.
I think in Canon Doran stifled a laugh.
At that point, like,
That's
all
good.
of these squires turn and look at you. Dorn's stifled laugh echoes uncomfortably in this very silent room.
Yes.
And you can see a little bit of the scales gain a sort of ruddy color. And he looks at you. Interesting. From the one who is literally paid to be here. Do tell me, what is your name and who do you serve?
No. Who's got the popcorn?
My name is Halberd, and who I serve is no one of consequence to you.
Will
Oh,
have
you
your
don't want
lord's
to name
name,
drop?
that I might speak with him about teaching you to respect your betters.
Perhaps I might have yours and teach you to respect your elders.
You have the honor of addressing a Miran Ignatoris. A
Many-
man Ignatoris. You may be
Can you,
my
like,
elder,
text that?
you are not my better. And you will address me with the respect I am due.
I'm curious what it is you would base on who is the better here.
Obviously, peasant. You serve those of my station.
Ah, you are under the misconception that I am here as a valet.
Am I misunderstanding the situation?
I may
Vincent! And he
I may
sort of...
have.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
As he's speaking, he calls over to the valet who led you in.
Yes, I may have deigned to walk here with one arbiter, Soryex Boskoth. Is that right?
Yeah, it's my
oh,
name.
sorry about that. Oh well, it did. But not necessarily taking the title of valet.
Just grinning. There's a difference between
The arbiter,
working
you
with
say?
or someone.
Indeed. Now that I've dropped his name, I should have just said mine. Halberd just came to mind because I saw Jonathan. My bad, Jonathan.
No, I love this. Halbert's
No,
gonna
I
get
don't
shot in
know.
the back again at some point.
Rye will understand the hatred for dragons that Halberd has.
The arbiter will thank me for teaching his servant all due respect and humility.
There is a difference between working for someone and working with someone. We work
Frankly,
with- we don't work for him.
If you do
Yes.
not work for him, he has released you from contract.
something of that sort.
Ah. Okay. He looks you up and down.
Which one?
Kazator. I see no particular heraldry saying that you have entered another service after being released from the arbiters. Tell me, what oath did you take? Are you in a clerical order? Or do you simply serve the knights?
Do I have any knowledge to pull from here, or am I just winging this, Lauren?
Make a make a religion check with disadvantage.
Oh, good. Because I'm great at those.
Nat 20, nat 20.
The nat 14 and a nat 1 for a total of 3. So I'm
You
gonna
know
say I'm
Solyex
winning.
has talked about this before, but this
It was
punk,
boring.
this
I got it.
punk,
but-
and all information about what he's asking about has just flown from your brain.
Doran just hears, I knew I should have paid more attention to Soyak. So,
But don't tell him I said that.
He,
so Oh, go ahead, Dorn.
No, Castor hears a groan. The mental realm.
The question for my sake, Lauren.
He asked if what oath you had taken, if you served a particular clerical order, or if you were specifically attached to one of the knightly circles.
Mm-hmm. I am neither a cleric nor am I beholden to a particular knight.
Oh, the irony. Oh, the irony.
Oh. And you see him
As I
step
elbowed.
back. I see. My apologies. I do wish to make certain I understand. You are not beholden to a particular clerical order. You have not taken an oath of knighthood, and the Arbiter has released you from contract but recently. Do I understand that correctly?
I am ready to draw weapons if this boy draws on me.
The Arbiter has told us to wait for him and see if we have need of him. See if he has need of us after his consultation today.
Wonderful. I'm so glad to hear the Arbiter is back in town. He will, of course, be able to retrieve you from outside these sacred grounds where heathens such as yourselves are not permitted. Be gone before I call the guards. What are you doing, Kazator?
I would like to establish just before I go the grounds on which determine your betterment over myself or these fine gentlemen behind me, and I'll gesture at all the other Malays. Because frankly, my boy, I've seen more threatening geckos, and I get it that you're dragonborn, and does that mean your mother was a kobold? I understand that one day you'll go very far, and hopefully you'll stay there, but I'll leave you with one thought. Well, I would if you had somewhere to put it.
Wow. Okay. Midway through your spiel, Amiran Ignatoris, as he had introduced himself, gestures over at the copper dragonborn on his right. She sort of starts walking purposefully towards the door. The valets at this point are all entirely silent, and you, Kazator, you get the sense when you start making a point of them, they adopt a quieter, more demure demeanor. There's this lowering of heads, there's this folding of hands, there's this leaning back against the walls.
We're digging a hole for them now.
They're like, a little bit, they're like, keep us out of this, we're doing exactly what we're supposed to be, don't look at us. And as you are piling on the insults, you see Amiran's face get redder and redder. You start seeing a very faint trail of smoke leaving his nostrils as he's taking these deep breaths. It's like,
I just don't you don't want to do that in here. You'll make a mess.
He looks over at you. You're not worth my time. You're not worth the energy it would take to burn your puny corpse to the ground.
Puny.
You have but a brief moment to make your escape, old man, before the guards will come to escort you out. Consider it a sign of my betterment that I give you one final opportunity to flee without chains. And of course, all the valets here are welcome to join me and my associates in a round of holy admonitions at each of these services through the rest of the day. I expect to see all of them, and he glances around the room, at mid-afternoon, evening, and midnight services, followed, of course, by a ritual cleansing at dawn. You have this individual to thank for the signs of your piety.
I'm Mulan and everyone's glaring at me for having to pick up all the rice.
Hey, man, that's 2 references in one session.
Wow,
It's okay, it's a wonderful movie.
It is. As he says, old man, there's kind of this flicker in Quesator's eyes as if he considered evoking his celestial legacy, and you just see this brief flash, and he kind of gets this grin reminiscent of like Bruce Willis in Red. And just kind of lets him finish. And
The same thing happened when he said puny. You could swear Doran got like 2 inches taller for a
you
second.
saw the static around the hammer. Well, if you have no way to prove your betterment, only words and threats at those who you like to lord control over, then I see no reason to stay here and converse. But if you would like to prove something and not merely assert unfounded claims to your peers because you're too afraid of how you would be seen in their eyes to fall short of what you've built yourself up to be, then you may find me at any time. I don't always give this, but I'll give you my true name. Halbert is a pseudonym. You may call me Quesator Veritas.
He takes a step and gets right up in your face, Quesator.
No, he doesn't. I'm not gonna let him.
Bullshit. Doran.
Bullshit.
Okay.
I'm saying who steps in front, right? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, no, if he's gonna try and step up, nuh-uh. We're not playing that game.
Okay. So Doran, are you interposing what? Your shield, your arm, your body?
I'm gonna just step in front of him if he's gonna start stepping up. It's like, this is a holy place, isn't it? It's not really the place for that.
We all serve the Platinum Dragon with our giftings.
No, you disgrace the Platinum Dragon. The smile is gone from Quesator at that point.
Hey, I get to be a fighter now.
The
Thanks,
tension
Jordan.
is building. At this point, you see 2 of the valets that are closest to the door just duck out of the room. And with your passive perception, you are hearing a number of heavier footsteps that are moving towards the down the hallway at a fairly rapid pace.
Okay, for reference, as these are coming, when we came in and then went to this chamber, do I have any idea of where we are in reference to like the gate we entered through?
Do we know the path out?
Pretty generally, yeah. Actually, make a survival check. if you're thinking through and seeing if you can recall the twists and the turns that you took to get here.
Both of us or just him?
Are you thinking of this escape too, Dorn, or are you too focused on staying between Quesator and Amira in here?
I mean, I'm ready to Big O, it's showtime, but I'm ready to get the hell out.
Okay. If you would like, I'll go ahead and let you roll a survival check also.
Okay. Nope. I'm more focused on the boy then.
Okay, Quesator?
21.
21.
That's way better than what I.
You've got a pretty good idea. You feel pretty confident you could retrace your steps.
Do I have any idea if I'm within 500 feet of like the outer gate?
You get the sense that you're probably not, but that your dimension door would be able to take you to a decently safe place where you could find your way back to there.
Okay, perfect. So as I say this and my smile is gone, I will say, your selfishness, pride, and nepotism are a disgrace to Bahamut. And if he were here, you would no longer be in his service.
Okay.
Depending on what he does.
At this point, you see something about what you have said triggers something in him, and you can see the moment where something breaks in his brain, and he slips his self-control.
I'm ready to draw my shield at the very least.
Okay.
Like, that's my ready action. And it's a +1 shield.
Oh. Yeah. As you're specifically talking about the nepotism, as like a brief second after that word leaves your mouth, you see him pull his hand up and be prepared to just backhand you.
He's got to get through a shield dwarf.
As you see it coming, Doran, you see it. You see these muscles tense. You see it prepared. You are there to interpose yourself, and you see the silver dragonborn, this lady that had stayed right next to him that whole time, grabs his arm and starts just this is not the time. They're not worth your time. He's riling you up. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. The guards will be here any moment. She glares at you and then looks back at him and adopts this sort of fawning expression.
As she glares at me, I'll say, Silver, does that mean you're second place?
Can you gonna dimension door us out anytime soon or not?
Torrance, if you're...
I have a ready to action for the dimension door. I have a dimension door related ready to action, by the way.
They're not worth it, Amirin. They're getting under your skin. I'm sure the Arbiter has paid them to rile us up. It's a test. They're testing us to see how we react. A trial before the feast.
Oh, good. We're going to meet them at the feast. I can't wait.
Oh. Don't let your temper get the better of you. And you see him sort of look over at her and like shrug off her arm violently. Not quite to the point of shoving her away, but almost to that extent.
Kind of like he's the bully character in like a sort of teen drama movie from the 80s, that kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of. That sort of attitude and
headcanon now, his name is Footloose.
Footloose the Golden Dragonborn.
You know, whatever it may be in your headcanon and in your notes, you can that is up to you.
Stupid.
I will pass this test. And at this point, you hear the door swing open, and 4 guards come into the room. You can see there are another 4 that are outside.
Tell me your dimension door. Don't want to get arrested.
Understand there's a disturbance?
Yes, I believe... Tell me his name one more time.
Yeah, really.
You mean Amirin? Amirin Ignatoris?
Amirin Ignoramus. Amirin Ignoramus.
You knew that one was coming. I've been waiting for it.
I'll say, yes, I believe Amirin was causing a ruckus and wanted to apologize.
You see, they completely ignore you Their gaze is entirely on the squires. And you're an unknown. You are new. You are not dressed in the armor and the heraldry of what they are accustomed to. So you get a glance, and then as soon as you start trying to blame the squires, they sort of write you off. You see the guard who had stepped forward and spoken. My lord Ignotaurus, how may we be of assistance? And Amiran looks at them as, take them away. I don't know how they snuck their way in, but they are not of any order and have no reason to be on these grounds. Remove them, and Bahamut bless you.
Amiran, we will see you again. And Dimension Door.
My ready to action. As we dimension door, I rip a wicked fart in Aramis' direction. What do I need to roll for that?
That would be Constitution.
Constitution check.
Man, I'm good at Constitution.
Yeah, that would be a Constitution check.
Because the lower he rolls, the worse it is.
The higher he rolls, the more control over it he has.
That way you're not taking.
That's just a normal one, not a saving throw, right?
Right.
All right, cool. That's a 17.
Hey.
Oh yeah. Describe to me how this is, how you are leaving the area.
Doran, this one is yours.
I need a refresher. What did we have for breakfast?
The whole
What was
room
my
needs a
last
reflection.
meal? What was our
That's
last
up to y'all. What did you have for breakfast?
Something eggy. It's like when you get one of those really wicked, like eggy smelling farts, you know? One of them ones that's very rippling when it comes out.
Casey cast Dimension Door, Doran cast Stinking Cloud.
Essentially. As Doran, as Kazator is casting his spell and dimension dooring you out, there's a brief greenish tinge that starts to come over Amir's face. And then you're gone in a flash of light. Kazator, you are on
In his head.
in a sort of
In Amiran's head, as we fade, as we disappear, he just hears humility.
okay.
Ooh.
I look
Alright,
at Kate.
so you are teleporting out to a safe, sort of shadowy recess on the way towards the exit of this district.
Mm-hmm.
We will go ahead and pause with the two of y'all there. And
Look at Kazator as like, that was fun. Let's not do that again anytime soon.
I think I've had my fill for a bit.
Aye, let's get out of here.
Agreed.
That was madness.
Don't you love it?
Aye. You know, fit like one of those kind of fist bumps, and then it's like, all right, let's go.
alright. Solyax.
Nope.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Alex is not here today. He's trying to get later.
We've reached the life model decoy. Solyax, you are walking through the halls of the district, of this beautiful temple, carved from the stonework of the mountain. Aura is leading you through the halls in a general upward trend, switchbacking a little bit to get up to a point where you can oversee the city. As you're walking, it's fairly quiet, but as you emerge and into the outside, where there's this wide balcony where you can look down and oversee the tiers of the city and the bay and harbor that opens up before you. You see the lighthouses just distantly, and beyond that, the sea. She leads you out onto this balcony. There's a low fence, and she walks right to it, and she looks over her shoulder at you. She says, "This is one of my favorite locations. It's so peaceful up here. Does it suit your needs, my Lord Arbiter?"
It's a very nice view. It's a lovely city. I haven't seen it or its like in my entire travels. Nothing like watching ships come in the sea next to the busying sound of the city. Although I will admit, the lower levels do smell just a little bit, but what can you expect?
What can you expect? Many of them do not hold themselves to the standard that we do here in the Dragon's Heart.
Of course not. But, I mean, isn't that the point of us being up here, so they can have something to look towards and aspire to be?
A standard to try to achieve. A hope that one day they may, in the future, reach this level.
Exactly.
We provide a hope for the city.
It is quite a nice view. Lloyd, what time of day is it right now?
Early to mid-afternoon.
Okay. So wondering if you might happen to show me to armor. I'm in need of maybe some restocking and supplying. Things are so different since I left, and you seem to be quite knowledgeable. And if you might point me in the direction of where I might acquire something.
Oh, absolutely, my Lord Arbiter. I would be pleased to be of assistance. If you'd let me know what you need, I would be glad to procure it for you.
Well, I'm looking for just a bit of comfortable leather armor for myself. Something light. Trying out a new idea for me. And it's something I don't have in my inventory.
I'm sure that we can have something made for you, my lord. I would be pleased to take your measurements perhaps this evening, so it would ensure a good fit. You understand?
I think that could be arranged. I think that would be all right.
I will speak to a reputable leatherworker, of course. Only the best.
I'm sure.
Have you any other needs that I may help fulfill?
No, I believe that's it. It was quite a long journey, and I do find that I am in need of rest and recuperation, especially if I'm going to be training someone. Suppose I should conserve all energy possible.
Of course. Well, you should be prepared by this point. Shall I lead you there?
That'd be great. Thank you.
I'm so glad.
In case anybody's wondering, yes, we are all in the middle of a thunderstorm.
Yeah, it's over here at my house too.
Yep, it's all over.
Yeah.
Jordan, how you doing?
Been snowing.
Oh,
At least snow's quiet.
True. I love thunderstorms, though.
I know, right?
Mm.
Worst thing about North Carolina, no thunderstorms. Anyways.
Uh-oh, did we lose Lauren?
Oh, what a phase. I love it. You could not ask for a better freeze frame.
I know, right?
Oh.
so yeah,
What did I do?
D&D is crazy tonight.
Oh, come on.
All right, I'm going to pause real quick.
We be doing
Okay, sorry for brief technical difficulties. Storms in Texas in the spring, yay.
I
So
apologize.
forgive us. We will handle what nature throws at us the best we can. So, Soyix, you were just fixing to head back to your room, is that right?
Yes.
Aura offers to guide you there, and I'm certain it must be prepared by this time. It's just this way. And she leads you down, and as she is walking with you through the halls, I don't suppose you know what time this evening, perhaps, you would prefer for me to come and get your measurements taken for your armor. I can come whenever it suits you.
she be crushing.
First thing, Lauren, I trust nothing, so I'm running a divine sense.
Okay. Celestial, Fey, Fiend, Undead, is that right?
Yeah. Also, it would tell me if the ground run is consecrated via the Hallow spell, but
you are on consecrated ground.
yeah,
You sense no celestial, Fey, Fiend, or undead.
Not a devil trying to murder me in my sleep.
Well,
Nope, not a devil.
Possibly.
not a devil anyway.
Yeah.
That one's off planet right now.
Yeah, we'll see. I do find that I am actually quite tired. Perhaps it would be better suited for you to come by first thing in the morning. Then you can give the measurements to the leather worker and have him work on it throughout the day.
Whatever you wish, my Lord Arbiter.
Excellent.
I am at your service. At any hour.
Thank you.
Just this way, then. Just around the corner here. And
Leave
she
the way.
leads you to your room, where it is a lavish set of chambers, a little suite that has been prepared for you. So you walk in, and there is a small sort of sitting area that has been furnished as a sort of entry space where you can greet guests. She leads you further in, and there is a small sort of office space, workspace, and a small training area that has been prepared on the other side of the same room. And just behind that, there is a set of bathing chambers and a bedroom. All exquisitely furnished, lavishly decorated, designed for comfort and functionality.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This will be more than sufficient and far better stays than I've had probably since I've left here. So, thank you. I do believe that should be it for the evening. If I do have need of you, I will get a hold of you.
I am at your service, my lord. At any time, for anything you need.
Yes, I do believe you mentioned that. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening, and I shall see you in the morning.
Rest well, my lord. I will see you in the morning.
Excellent. Sounds good.
Good night, good work. I most likely kill you in the morning.
She heads out. You have your chambers to yourself. Was there anything else you wanted to do that evening, or are you just going to go ahead and rest?
I'm going to thoroughly check the chamber for anything that's trying to kill me.
Make an investigation check.
Yep, this is on par for me. That's a 4.
Nothing stands out. You're looking through your chambers. There's, it seems.
There's the cup. Oh, okay, good.
Mhm.
Water, not acid. This is a good thing.
Yeah, no, you're not detecting any type of toxins or poisons. You're not. I mean, there's swords and knives and things, but they're all on the walls in the training area, and it's you're not finding anything. Excuse me, particularly designed to actively bring about your demise.
Good. Well, this has been interesting. Hi. Question. Actually, request. If you could somehow get in contact with our silver friend and let her get in contact. I need to talk to her, and possibly the other cleric. I need to talk to him. If you could somehow communicate to them, that I would appreciate if they would communicate to me. That would be nice. I don't know what I'm doing here, and I could really use any help. And here, I don't feel safe.
Really?
Thanks. Right.
Solix, you pray. Make a religion check for me.
12.
12. You feel your words sort of hang in the air. You don't feel a particular response.
Okay. Well, out of curiosity, Lauren, within hold on, before I say this, let me double check my my notes of my bag. That's just here. Did we get rid of that? No, surely I didn't get rid of it. Probably got rid of it. See, this is why I don't get rid of things out of the bag.
Dragons, you have to hoard something.
No, that's the whole reason I have this bag. All right.
It's true.
Lord, well, because I reach in there, I can't find what I was looking for. I suppose it's gone, but I sold it probably like an idiot. I'm going to pull out the bubble pipe.
Okay.
This is just a pipe that blows bubbles, right? I haven't really looked at it since I threw it in the bag.
You haven't even looked at it. It's to all everything that you can tell. It is designed to blow bubbles when you blow through it. You dip it in the soapy liquid and bubbles.
Does it do anything? No. I'm just gonna spend a little bit of time trying to figure out if there's anything secret about this bubble pipe. See if there's anything weird about it.
Make an investigation check.
Awesome. Ah! That's a natural 20.
Nice.
Can't look for traps or anything, but this bubble pipe. Got it.
You're looking at this bubble pipe. It is hand carved. It is a little rough in places. It's seen some wear and tear and some use over time, but it is very functional. Good bubbles.
And I'm required to dip it in bubbles to then blow bubbles. It doesn't produce magic bubbles.
It has a little recess where you can have a sort of reservoir of liquid where it is designed to blow. There is a little bit of liquid that is still in there, which is what's letting you know that it will produce bubbles. They're very shiny bubbles. They pop very nicely, very satisfying.
I will also, looking at the things that I just hastily grabbed, I will pull out the 1 ounce block of metal. It's just like iron, I guess. Looking at it.
Where did you get this?
I believe this is from the kobold. I got a black scale, the bubble pipe, old socks, and a 1 ounce block of metal.
Let me pull up my notes.
I looted the kobolds because I also got the bag of kittens at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
Meow.
Make a nature check.
Oh, well, that's a 12.
It's a 12. You're not sure what type of metal this is.
Cool.
Might be iron.
A little bit of metal.
You know who would know?
Right. I also have some ingots and some other stuff of yours in here.
Yeah.
I will pull out the old socks, so I can find a use for these and put them back. And then I will pull out the black scale. How big is it?
Relatively small. Bulb size for you.
So could I guess, like looking at aging, weathering, could I guess what age and or creature this came off of?
Make a nature check.
Just make an
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You're pretty confident it's from a black dragon. It's either from a fairly large creature or it's a very large scale from a younger one.
Okay. But the darkness of the black doesn't tell me about what age I'm looking at.
You're looking at it and you see hints of almost purplish black on it.
Okay. Well. Okay. What do I do? Too much. I'm going to take sort of the bedding and like put it into a corner, sort of prop myself up in a corner, just sort of kind of sleep there, the shield kind of in front of me.
Okay.
And just sort of bed down for the night in a weird little corner.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? No, belay that. I'm gonna get in the bathtub. I'll put the mattress, bathtub, curl up in the bathtub.
All right, you take your supplies, and I mean, there's enough there, enough cushioning and blankets and fluffed up pillows to make a very nice little nest in the bathtub.
I am legending this bathtub right now.
Yep.
Also good news.
As it fades into the evening, we will go ahead and leave Siliex there. Val,
Oh, why?
Because it's your turn!
you have seen Sarai and Harker off at the entrance to the sewers that you know will eventually lead to the catacombs. Nightbane has gone down there with them as an additional protective force, following Sarai and following the last instruction left to him by Halberd to guard her. You start heading your way back to Gertie's.
I'm not looking forward to this.
It's gonna be great.
With every fiber of my being. Yeah, I'm gonna very quickly make my way to Gertie's, but I'm not going to take an exact direct route just in case there are people watching. I'm gonna kind of weave through alleyways and whatnot. It may take me a few extra minutes, but definitely want to make sure nobody's following me.
Okay. Make a stealth check for me, just to see how stealthy you can be as you're moving through this.
19.
19. Okay, so you feel pretty confident in how quietly you're moving and slipping through shadows. With how you feel like you have thrown off any potential would-be people who are following you. So you start making a way through the streets.
That was great.
Different type of thunder.
We're gonna break more.
Back to Gertie's. You arrive at the shop pretty confident that you haven't been seen. Are you heading around towards the front through the plaza, or are you heading through back ways back to the back door?
I'll go back through the back door.
Okay. So you head back to the back door through the back ways, having to pass through various houses and living spaces in order to get there. Morita does greet you as you pass through her home again. You see her holding her little half-elven daughter, and just rocking her, holding her, relieved that the momentary intense danger seems to have passed at this point. From what I could tell, you're a bit of a healer, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, they might be able to use your services over there. From what the word is, it doesn't look good.
Yes, well, let's see if I can fix that, shall we?
May any god of your choosing be with you.
Apparently, according to my friends, I have plenty to choose from, so here we go. And I'll make my way out.
An odd look crosses her face as she just watches you go. So you head back across the little courtyard with the well in it, through the back door. You get to the kitchen space, and you can see tables have been overturned. The cushions and chairs have been slit open. Their innards have been torn out. The cupboards are all open. Half of them are ripped off their hinges. There was a rough search that came through here. One other thing to keep in mind before we go too far into this: are you still holding the bag that Gertie handed to you?
Yes.
Okay. So you do still have that as you're going through and just
That's
taking
the bag
in...
Harker handed to her, and she handed to me, right? Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, still got it.
Good deal.
Harker didn't ask for it back, so I'm keeping it.
Nope. So you're walking in on this scene, and there is... Let me make sure I'm telling you this correctly. You see Gertie, who is propped up on a counter, leaning against a wall. There's a cushion behind her back, and you are seeing her just battered. In even the short time that you have been there, The bruises and the swelling has started to increase. The half of her face is completely swollen. There's an individual, human woman who is standing there with her, bandaging a splint around the lower part of one of her legs. She is exhausted, and she is being talked at by a half-elven woman who is dressed in very official-looking robes. And you're coming along the scene and you're hearing this woman say, "And of course, we understand it may take you some time to collect the funds necessary to pay the fine. You have 2 weeks from the state to gather the funds, and I will expect it at my office." She sort of looks at a timepiece on her wrist. "By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, shall we say?"
They got clocks?
High fantasy setting.
It's magic, man.
We'll say magic meets sci-fi, and yes, they have clocks.
Whoa.
Here, at least.
All right, I'm gonna kind of, as she's talking, just kind of slip behind one of the shelves or aisles to where I can keep an eye on things, but not.
You are trying to. Your instinct is to step behind one of the shelves and down one of the aisles. The stands that used to hold the items for sale have been completely overturned. One of them is broken in pieces on the floor. The other is tilted, fallen over on top of it and leaning at an angle, just sort of sticking out, jutting into the air above it. There's a surprising lack of magical goods in the shop. Even on the floor, there are not any, really, that you can see.
Yeah, they showed up with the card.
Wonderful.
Also, dang, they beat on an old woman.
You do see there are half a dozen individuals or so who are, they just look like normal people that you'd see on the streets who have various brooms and dustpans. You see 2 of them who looked to be in the process of sort of righting some of the shelves and have stopped and are just sort of quietly waiting for whatever is happening with Gertie and this woman before she leaves so they can get back to work.
Do any of the people that are inside have a look of either guilt of, or this guilt of, this is my fault, I didn't mean for this to happen, or a look of kind of quiet glee, like they're happy Gertie is getting what she deserves?
Make an insight check.
Ooh, that would be a 23.
23. None of the individuals who are helping clean up are like that. The only sense of any sort of pleasure you're getting is from the half-elven woman who's talking to Gertie about the fine she's going to have to pay.
Does Gertie look like she's conscious, like she can see me, or okay, let me ask this. Is the half-elven lady's back to me?
The side. She's sort of from where you came in. You're getting her from the side mostly.
Okay.
So you can move and sort of get behind her if you want. From what you see, Gertie is conscious. She is her eyes sort of very, very briefly darted over to you and immediately went back to focusing on this half-elven woman in front of her.
All right, I'll get to where I'm kind of to where the woman's back to me, but Gertie can still see me. And I'll get Gertie's attention. I'll be point at the half-elven woman and be like,
Gertie's...
Man.
You got mad at me for yelling at people.
Everywhere.
Make an insight check.
Oh no!
It's cursed. So it is cursed it down to kill the lady.
That one, he kills an official, and
yeah, that's a 22.
22. There's a very subtle shift that comes over Gertie's features as she blinks at you. But there's a very brief micro expression of displeasure and negation.
Okay. Be like, and I'll just act like I'm like cleaning stuff up.
Okay. Make a
Well, I'll not
performance
act
check.
like I'll actually clean up stuff, but
Okay. If you're
Like,
actually gonna help, then don't worry about the performance
I'm paying
check.
attention to her and Gertie, like but being nonchalant about it as I'm cleaning stuff up.
Okay. Gertie, when she speaks, her voice is hoarse and her jaw is very stiff, and she's not moving her mouth much as she talks. But she says, "Oh, absolutely. I do understand the position I am in. I will complete all the requirements to the best of my ability. Thank you, Madam Craner, for your graciousness in this matter."
That was one of the people she warned me about.
The half-elven woman just sort of preens a little bit. So I'm glad we understand each other, Miss Gadsworth. A pleasure doing business, as always. And when you're prepared to reopen shop, do come see me in my office about renegotiating your charter. I'll be very pleased to speak with you at that point. Have a wonderful day.
That woman a hoe.
What are you?
And she turns and heads out of the shop. You see Gertie as soon as Madame Kramer leaves the shop. Gertie just gives a slight sag against the counter, and this weariness comes over her face. The medic, sort of who'd been wrapping her leg, finishes very quickly and goes up to Gertie to help her actually lay down. It's like, I told you you weren't quite ready for this. It was far too taxing on you. You should have let me deal with it.
Lauren, quick question. What exactly did Kramer look like?
Half-elven woman, dark hair, braided tightly back into a bun high on her head. Sort of a very severe aesthetic, dark, very formal robes with a belt around her waist, chain of office holding a dark blue cloak off of one shoulder. What are you looking for in particular?
Mainly just identifying features so that if I see her again, I'll recognize her.
Yeah, middle-aged half-elf, fairly severe features, sort of made sharper by the way that she dresses and does her hair and styles herself, to give this very no-nonsense demeanor
Kind of
and
like that,
aesthetic to herself.
kind of like that classic, like the old school teacher with the bun and like the ruler that she's gonna whip your ass with.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Does she have any like marks of
What
office
robe?
on her?
She has a chain of office that holds the one cape off of one shoulder,
Okay.
and that's the closest that you could see to any of that.
All right. So once she's peeking out the window, just making sure she's actually making her way down the street and not peeking in the window back at me, I'll hurry over to Gertie and lay my hand gently on her arm and cast a second level Cure Wounds.
Okay. Make a medicine check for me.
Oh, I haven't done one of those in like forever. Okay, 17 plus 4, 21.
21. Okay. So as you are about to do the Cure Wounds, you're recognizing something about her where you placed your hand on her arm. You might want to wait until her broken arm is actually set before you try to pump healing energy into it.
So first aid person didn't already do that stuff?
Is looking like they're in the process.
Okay. In that case, I will hold off while they're doing all that stuff.
Okay. They're finishing up on her leg, which is there. It's splinted up. It's wrapped. It's stabilized for now, and it looks like they're fixing to move to either her arm or somewhere further up on her body. It's hard to tell at the moment because you're kind of standing in their way. And there you can see this this dragonborn woman who is looking at you, sort of out of the corner of her eye as she's tying off the bandage. Waiting to see what exactly you're doing.
Using my medicine kit, can I help with administering the first aid and setting of things, and make myself useful outside of magic-y things?
Yeah, absolutely. That is totally something you can do. Make a medicine check for me.
Yay! Right, I actually get to be. That is a modified 20.
Yeah, you was shit.
Awesome.
Right?
Okay.
I get to do things.
So yeah, you see the medic sort of glance up at you, take in your general demeanor, and she hands you a splint and a couple bandages. She says, "That arm's the next worst off. I'm going to just make sure that we can get everything situated. Can you handle that?"
I believe so, and I'll reach over to Gertie and just kind of take her hand gently and be like, I do apologize for this, but this is going to hurt a little bit. And I'll start getting to work on her arm. And...
Okay. Gertie just sort of grits her teeth. She gestures over at a piece of leather. It looks like it might be the end of someone's belt. She says, "Just hand me that. I'll be fine. No worries, dear."
Yeah, I'll grab it, hand it to her. Does it look like she's about to bite down on it?
Mm-hmm.
I'll just put it next to her mouth and be like, "It's better than nothing."
You see her raise an eyebrow, sort of a get on with it look. So you go ahead and you splint her arm and you start wrapping it up. You hear the medic on the other side talking with Gertie, and she's like, "Well, no, I do believe the worst of it's done. We have looks like one cut to stitch over here. Not bad. 4, maybe 5 stitches. Nice and clean. We'll get it right up." And she pulls out a needle and some thread and starts talking Gertie through the process as she's stitching that up. The others are going to be just fine, just bandaged, and
I'm just contemplating how this is working on scaled skin, but
very delicately.
Whatever, Dang magic.
Yeah. So you can see Gertie is well on the way to being healed. You get the first aid taken care of over the next 10 or 15 minutes. By that point, the worst of the damage in the shop has been picked up. The other 5 or 6 individuals have gotten the shelves righted. They've started sweeping everything out of the corners, and it is pretty clear at this point, like pretty much everything has been taken. You go ahead and you finish up with the medicine. You said you wanted to do, did you want to pump any healing magic into it after everything?
Yeah, once I know that the healing magic's not going to do more harm than good, I will cast a second level cure wounds. And I'll probably do that twice. Okay.
The medic talks to you and is like, pulls you a little bit to the side, sort of out of Gertie's earshot, but Gertie's a sharp old lady. And you get the sense that she keeps an eye on what's exactly happening, but the medic lowers her voice and she's saying, if you've got any of that healing magic, if you can focus any of it on her back. They did a number on it and it doesn't look good. I've got everything set, but if you can speed the healing there, we might.
I think I can do a little better than just speed the healing. And I'm going to cast, rather than cure wounds, I'll cast heal.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That'll be 70 hit points. Is that right?
Yes.
Nice.
Gertie's gonna be feeling real good.
She just like hops up and she's like punching the airs.
Let me out of here. Hold me back.
Let me out of.
Hold me back. Hold
So
me
you
back.
go ahead and you cast the heal spell, and you can see pretty immediately you hadn't realized how pained Gertie was. She'd been disguising it really well, but there's an immediate relief that comes over her features and a relaxing against the cushions that had been propping her up into a much more natural reclined position. She's like, oh, that's so much better. Thank you, dear. That's very kind of you.
Looks like they did a number here, more than just, not just on you, but on your shop too. Looks like they took everything.
No, not quite everything. They took most of my merchandise, it's true. And they left the till entirely alone, though. They're not robbers, after all. And you see her with a sort of wry eyebrow raise at that. It's like, with luck, I'll get some basic goods and be able to pay the fine here before it's due. I'll get it running again. And
Is there any way to appeal the fine or to circumvent it? I'm not very familiar with your city and its laws, but just trying to educate myself here.
No, there's no appeal for charter infractions, unfortunately. If I want to circumvent it, I'm free to sell my building here and relocate my business elsewhere. That's, of course, always an option.
How tempting is that option at the moment?
Oh, I'm not that scared. If that was the worst they could bring, look, I'm still standing, the shop is still here. There's nothing to worry about, not really.
What would they do with your items now that they've taken them?
Oh, I'm sure I don't know. I'm free to... Oh, what was it they said? I'm free to retrieve my seized goods after they have been inspected. All cleared items should be available for pickup within 6 to 8 business weeks. Exempting, of course, the Feast of Strength and the festivities surrounding therein. So, within 2 months or so, if any of them are cleared after whatever inspection they do, I don't intend to really get much back from that. I'm sure anything valuable or useful will be seized.
I don't know what much to say, Gertie. I'm sorry to, had a hand in bringing this down on your head, but...
Oh, don't be sorry. This was none of your doing. You didn't tell them, I'm sure. And she raises an eyebrow at you.
No, that would not have ended well for either of us.
I'm still alive. My shop is still standing. And we get some good information out of this, too. Entirely worth the effort, I do say.
What information were you able to glean? Not that I'm surprised.
Oh, we'll discuss it, I'm sure. Still, Captain Ignotaurus is less than pleased at the lack of success of discerning Miss Sarai's location.
I am so happy that I called that, even though I didn't say anything.
Oh,
I feel
so
so
happy.
validated, Lauren. Thank you.
So happy I called out his kid. Nephew or something.
That particular captain, is he the one you were warning me about, or does he just happen to be a little exuberant for his post?
Oh no. He is not, I don't believe I'd said anything in particular about him. He is watch captain of this particular district. His family is of great renown here within the city. And the fact that they are willing to move so violently, so openly, says much of their desperation.
That's fair. How influential is their family over this district?
Oh, not just this district, all over the city itself. Captain Ignatoris here has been working in the guard for, I want to say, nearly 3 decades at this point to gain his position. He has a number of relatives within the knightly orders and within the church itself.
Oh, that's lovely. Way to go, Casator. Jay says, not now, obviously.
Still, not to be terribly concerned about. He is a nuisance. That whole family, all much of the same like. Bullies the lot of them. Not to be concerned about. Don't worry, don't worry.
Well, I know that our rather tall friend is hell's-bent on reforming the way things are done. I wouldn't mind, after seeing what they've done here, assisting that in any way. But it seems like this family might be one of those obstacles need removing.
Oh, possibly. It's quite possible. Brenton there was never a nice lad.
What was that name?
Brenton.
Brenton, okay. I thought you said Brent in there, and I'm like, maybe? Anyway. Who exactly is Brenton?
Brenton Ignatoris, the captain there.
Oh, okay. That's his full name. Got it. Brain working. Sorry, going through quite a lot in my head at the moment.
Captain
Speaking of
Daddy.
which, and I'll pull out the bag. Haka brought this for you, and you handed it to me, and I feel like you need this more than I do at the moment.
Have you seen what's in it? If I know Haka, it would have been things that are not our best kept. A little what's the word? My mind seems to be failing me. As you young ones say, on the down low.
No, he had brought this for you, and in respect of your privacy, I had not opened it and merely kept it safe.
That was funny.
When he went to escort our friend to a safer location, they left this in my care, so no, I have not opened it yet.
Well, let's see what Haka managed to preserve then, shall we?
All right, I'll kind of sit on the floor next to her and open the sack and gently start pulling things out.
Okay. You pull out a potion of Dragon's Bane,
Oh,
a potion of Superior Healing,
those are always helpful.
2 potions of Greater Healing,
Also helpful.
a scroll of Guards and Wards, a scroll of Telepathic Bond, a scroll of Steel Wind Strike,
Yes.
What?
a helmet of Comprehend Language, a
Hey.
circlet of Blasting, gauntlets of Ogre Power,
Yes,
and the
please.
periapt of Leadership and Influence.
That's for celiacs.
That's a lot of stuff.
Gauntlet, please. I don't need it, but I want it.
These belong to Gertie. Hoarders. Are these
You
things
knew
that,
what that bag was. You
are
knew-
these things that will help you get back on your shop back on its feet? Are these things that need to be placed elsewhere while you do get back on your feet?
the potions I can find a buyer for, excepting perhaps that one. And she points at the potions of Dragon's Bane.
That does.
The helm and the circlet, possibly. The gauntlets, the scrolls, not on short notice, not like this. And without its brethren, the Periapt here, might be best used by one of you.
I have open attunement slots. Just saying. Open attunement slots.
This is the Periapt that increases the charisma bonus, just to clarify.
Val is putting that.
I have open attunement slots.
That being said, and that's whatever you're willing to lend to us. We're more than happy to put to use, and we'll be very grateful for. But I don't want to take anything that you would need. That being said, though, I do have some things that might help. And I'll pull out some of my some regular potions of healing, and I've got 2 of those. And throughout the week, maybe I can come back and help you create some items that you can sell in order to get the fine. How much was that fine, by the way? I didn't hear that part.
I am being fined 12,000 gold pieces.
Holy Nikes. That's kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
Apparently, I'm the purveyor magic shop within the city.
Well, okay, that's fair. Yeah. And Val just makes a mental note to talk to everyone once we get there. So you tell me what you want us to take. I'll put those in the bag, and I'm going to try to meet up with everyone in the next 24 hours or so, and we can see what we can do to help you. You've been such a tremendous help to us. I'd like to be of any service we can.
Of course. You're a dear boy. Now, and she goes ahead and she gives you the scrolls. So that's a scroll of guards and wards, a scroll of telepathic bond, and a scroll of steel wind strike. She gives you the gauntlets of ogre power and the periapt of leadership and influence.
How do you spell that last thing? The periwinkle, whatever.
Periapt, Periapt.
Is that an actual thing, or is that a Lauren built this thing?
It's a Lauren adjusted thing.
Okay. Cool. I just wasn't sure if I could find it on the interwebs.
Is that one of those you attune to it and it increases your charisma by 2?
Yep.
Gauntlets of ogre. And can you
Up to a maximum of 20. The periapt is up to a maximum of 20.
Can you text me the scrolls later?
Yeah.
Cool beans. I might. So I'll give her the regular healing potions, and hopefully you can sell these to help with your endeavors. And once I'm able to reconvene with my compatriots, we'll be able to come up with a more lasting assistance. In the meantime, our friend has relocated down south, and kind of just looks down below, and we'll be making our way, hopefully, out of the city and reconvening there, so as we do not draw any more attention to those who would help us.
As you will. You asked a question earlier, and I've been thinking through it a bit. I believe I have an answer for you. Other shops and places that may
Oh, I was
help
like,
you.
I don't remember the question.
With recent events, and she sort of looks around her shop. It may be better to speak to them sooner rather than later.
Very well.
For general potions and alchemical ingredients, you'll want to try tonics, tonics, and tinctures. Weapons and armor, of course, here in the Bull's Head Plaza. You'll want Bilgum's Blacksmithery and... make sure I'm telling you this correctly, because I'm going to mess up her name. No, I'm not. It's just... And of course, Betty's bigger and better Blacksmithery. Weapons and armor, both. It's a healthy competition between the two.
I remember those names.
Yeah.
Leather armor for anybody who wants to move a little bit lighter. You want Loretta's Leatherworks, of course. And for any magical materials or components, you will want Gareth's.
I'm sorry?
Gareth's. And she sort of sighs as she says the name. Gareth, Gadsworth's, Gizmos, and Gubbins.
It do be like that.
Gadsworth?
A relative of yours.
My brother.
Yeah, okay. Anything that I should be expecting if I go visit that?
Don't let him try to pawn any of his magical items off on you. Components, certainly. Magical items, not so much.
So, and I identify a spell on an item before we buy it might not be a terrible.
Very valid idea. Absolutely valid.
Thankfully, one of our friends is very good at that spell. Matter of fact, he casts it ritualistically. So
a valuable skill. Keep in mind, Gareth's pride and joy was a ring of falling feathers, not to be confused with the ring of feather fall.
oh, sweet merciful gods.
I love him already.
Now, as far as your seized goods, where would they take those? Do they have a warehouse or?
From everything we've been able to discern, the seized goods are being stored somewhere within Dragon's Heart, and we just haven't found the exact location yet. We're not quite sure why they're amassing such a stockpile. There's definitely been an increase in recent days.
I'm sure that we might be able to help you with those answer some of those questions. But we'll cross that bridge when it's time to burn it. I mean, when we get there.
Do be careful. Burning bridges means that they cannot be crossed. Just make sure you're on the right side.
That's fair. Or learn how to swim. Teleport spells are also good, but that's neither here nor there. Regardless, we'll make sure that we are as careful as we can be.
All right. So at that point, we'll go ahead and pause there as Val is fixing to head out of Gertie's. And we will jump back over to Halberd and Rye, who have left the chapel and are back in the temple at the library. Steady has been waiting for you. You see him as you emerge. And he is accompanied by two very familiar figures.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
There's
Right,
between
you
those
see
figures.
your aunts who are standing there. Halberd, you are met with the sight of two humanoid figures of species that are rarely seen in your travels, but you know enough to recognize them as Genasi. These figures that have some elemental heritage in their background. Rye, you see them and you have a brief moment of just observing them as before they see you, before they recognize that you've come out. So Halberd, just to set the scene, Halberd, what you see is Steady, tiefling, brown curly hair, dark gray skin, glowing eyes like Rise, talking to these two Genasi. One is an Earth Genasi, no hair on her head, shaved bald, tall, stout, sort of very muscular, heavy figure, beautiful sort of agate skin, standing very sort of relaxed and at the same time prepared. You see the other is a tall, wiry Air Genasi. Hair is gray and curly like voluminous storm clouds. Her skin is a lighter, almost grayish blue. And in the light of the temple here, you can see it's almost like sparks of lightning are dancing over it. She is standing a little bit more alert and a little bit more tense, and she is the one who first perceives that you and Rai have emerged from the temple itself.
So I want to see what is Rai's facial expression seeing them.
The more telling thing is actually that Rai has kind of stopped and she's reaching back towards Halberd to ready a dimension door.
So seeing Rai, like, I don't know, do you look uncomfortable?
Little kid getting caught.
I am going to smile and wave and say, hello there! Yes.
So, Rai, you see Aunt Lonnie wave back, not nearly as exuberantly as Halberd does, but she gets Auntie Key's attention and Steady's also. The three of them turn and see you, and you see Auntie Key just sort of relax. This tension on her. She's picking up on some of your body language. Like, she's still alert, and she's still sort of looking you over, seeing, okay, that was a very brief encounter in the market. This is not quite right. For them to have packed up or to have gotten someone to watch the stall while they came to check on Steady and on you and just see what's happening there, they know something's up. And so there's this sort of intensity to the gaze as they're looking you over, but also a very warm and welcoming. Lonnie steps forward and, Rai, darling, it's so good to see you. And opens her arms for a hug.
Mutter under my breath to Halberd, I'll remember this, Elf. Hello, Aunt Lonnie. Auntie Key, hello. It's good to see you.
You as well. Oh, darling, it was too brief in the market. We didn't get to see you hardly at all. You ran right past.
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to keep on running. We do have some business we have to get back to, and I needed to make a couple stops, which, speaking of which, Steady, if I can borrow your sending stone.
Of course, anything you need, right? You know that.
Lauren, when she addressed the genasi that she was speaking to, can I get the names and associate the names with which one goes with which?
Right. So Auntie Key is the Earth Genasi. Aunt Lonnie is the Air Genasi.
Oh, this is amazing. I'm so happy.
And what was the second one?
Aunt Lonnie,
Aunt Lonnie. Thank you.
Lani.
Perfect.
Yes, and then I do have another request from you, particularly, Study. So the little girl, we were able to wake her up, very exciting. But she's alone there for a little bit. So do you think maybe you could pop in and see her, just so she has a face that's a bit more familiar?
Certainly, I suppose. As long as it doesn't interfere with our duties, you know that. But visiting a little girl certainly wouldn't. Absolutely.
Thank you, darling.
Now tell me, is she more dolls or swords?
I'm gonna look at Halberd.
I think it would be very comfortable to say she would find interest and use in both.
Oh, she is going to be a fun one.
This is gonna be great.
Hey,
She's very pleasant.
she is a very rare treasure, so everything you can do to help her, just be with her, is always appreciated.
You know, Study, she has a walking stick that might be very useful for you to train her a little bit.
Oh, this is so exciting, right? You have made my day.
Oh, good.
He pulls out the sending stone, and you see now, Halberd, there's a, it looks to be a series of 2 sticks that he holds sort of in a sheath at his waist, that are easily retrieved, that are connected, and it looks like they almost snap together. And now you're putting pieces together as he hands the stone to Rye. He pulls it out. He does a little twist in the air and around his neck, and then breaks it back apart and sets it down. And get to teach the new tricks. That's always fun the first time.
Yes, darling. I think you would get along well with her.
So
We're both going to enjoy
dolls,
another.
walking stick. We'll get this started. Rye, I hope you know you owe me many favors. Running interference, as you said, not the easiest thing.
Did he come by?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
Lord.
very much would have liked to have met him. Do I look around and see him?
Make a perception check.
Please.
It was not bad. 25.
You're looking around. You're not. Clarify for me. What exactly are you looking for?
Oust.
You don't see Oust in particular, no.
Some of
Do
it.
I?
Rye, make a perception check.
Nowhere near as good as Albert. Nope, that's 7.
7. Nope, you don't see him. You check the places that you know would be his normal hiding spots. No. Aunt Lonnie says, "Oh, you must stop by for at least a quick meal before you leave. Promise you will. You know, it's family dinner. We can get everybody together."
I will make no promises about this, unfortunately, because we do have quite a bit going on in Dragonthrone. The situation we were moving that little girl from is only getting worse. So I don't know how long we can delay.
Can you not spare an hour even?
I am very uncertain about those that we left behind to care for the situation. So I feel like we've gone too long already. So.
Right. I know. And Auntie Key is stepping up at this point, and she takes one of your hands in hers. She says, "I know how devoted you are to your work at the library, and how very important it is, and how it keeps all of us safe. But you must have at least an hour for your poor, lonely aunts who haven't seen you in so long.
Guilt trip.
Damn.
I am so happy in this moment.
Right.
Halbert is so happy in this moment.
Why, Auntie Key, I see you've been practicing.
You see the composure break and this broad grin stretch across her face. She says, Oust has been working with me. Does it show?
Very marvelously. Very marvelously. But never play a player, darling.
No, but seriously though, right? We can get Oust, we can get you and Steady and Halduin, and it'll be wonderful. An hour for dinner tonight, please.
Let me check and see what's going on, and if things are calm back in Dinagon, I can probably return for a little bit.
Make a persuasion check.
We're all gonna be dead and gone at this rate.
Everything is clearly handled. Right.
Now we got 2 golden dragonborns on our side.
25.
Wait, hold on.
25.
Ooh,
Never mind.
nice.
You see Auntie Key sort of look you over and it's like, very well. I trust you, Rye. You know how important it is to maintain family ties here at the library. I have every faith you will do everything you can.
And I have to talk to Oust about this. I'm not pleased. You're far too good at this.
So I'm curious, right?
Oh, he's
Did
been
you
trying to
figure it
teach
out
me if
to
it's...
you?
What was that, Halberd?
I'm just gonna chuckle and say, I'm curious. Did you teach Oust, or did Oust teach you?
Oh, darling, of course I taught him. I'm sorry, you've met him, and you think he taught me.
I don't know the age gap.
Oh, that's a different story.
Lonnie pulls Key to the side and Key, I do believe we are holding her up at this point. It's so good to see you, Ryan. We really should get back to the stall and the market. Dinner tonight, if at all possible.
I'll kiss both of them on the cheeks and say, I will do my best.
I love you, Rye.
Love you both.
Steady, do you mind escorting a pair of old ladies back through the marketplace?
I'm gonna laugh as soon as she says old.
And so the 3 of them, Steady has 1 on each arm escorting them, and they're talking. He says, "Oh, not at all, aunties. Of course. This way. Rye, don't you dare leave me alone tonight."
I make no promises, cousin.
I'm your favorite cousin, and don't forget.
What I remember, darling, is that I'm not yours.
Oh.
So the 3 of them leave. Rye, you were talking about stopping by your quarters?
Yeah, just pop in real quick.
Okay. So are you taking Halberd with you? Yes? Just clarifying.
If he wants to come.
Okay.
Just as good.
So,
Rain is getting harder over here.
Yeah, it's pretty bad over here too.
yep.
Anyway, weather update.
Once again, yay, storms in spring in Texas.
It's the bad.
Nature check.
Before any of us lose power again. So right, you take him through stacks and deeper down into where the library proper starts. Once you know you're getting close to the threshold, your steps slow slightly. Halberd, you feel a brief pressure emanating from your pendant with the tree symbol. Rye, you lead him to the gates, the entryway into the library proper. You go ahead and you cross the threshold, and as you do, Halberd, this same sort of dual voice echoes through your mind, and you blink, and for a brief moment you have a vision of 2 individuals. A sort of raceless male scholar and female warrior who stand before you, and they just say, Welcome. Your path ahead is dark. The young tree will need your assistance. Learn well, young runner. And then you're back, and the library opens expansively before you. Right, you've walked through these halls many, many times, and you can forget occasionally the sense and scope of the grandeur that it contains. But the shelves and shelves of books, stories high, it's hard to tell, it's hard to really differentiate, but 3, 4, 5, 6 stories with winding staircases connecting them at different levels. These crystalline lights glowing different colors to guide the way to different sections and departments. The pathways are broad and warm and welcoming. You're in the library. It's a collection not just of books, but of various items, displayed but protected. As you walk past, Rye leading the way through the main atrium towards her quarters, Halberd, you get the sense of a guardedness and watchfulness at the same time as a warmth and welcoming. It is a pleasant place to be, but you get the sense that you are watched.
Stranger?
Hmm?
I am a stranger here, and I know it.
Mm-hmm. A little bit, yeah. That's sort of the sensation that you get is you're welcomed into this space, but you're not one of the people who belong here. And it's just it's an awareness. It doesn't feel aggressive. It doesn't feel malicious at all. But it's an awareness that follows you as you follow Rye deeper and deeper in. Rye, quickly enough, you follow the very familiar paths to the quarters that you were assigned. Do you want to go ahead and describe what Halberd sees?
So it looks like a studio apartment. You walk into the main living space, and there's furniture in there. It's nice furniture, well polished, elegant furniture, but there's actually really not a lot of it. You've got just enough for like a living space for someone to sit down and eat. There's a credenza on the side that has some food in there, but there's not a lot of clutter. There's a step up to where the bedroom is that has like a wooden screen sort of separating the space. And again, gorgeous furniture, elegant. The fabric is plush, but it's really just not a lot. It kind of evokes the fact that she doesn't spend a lot of time here. The only amount of clutter you see in the space is around the fireplace. There's picture after portrait after picture after portrait that's just sort of piled in and around, hung up around the fireplace, images of what looks to be Rye as a child with Steady growing up. Images, one of the first things you kind of see that she stops whenever she walks in is actually an image of a dragon, a green dragon with his front paws folded in front of each other. And there's a folded piece of paper in the corner. There's an image of a tiefling woman who looks like Rye, and a tiefling man who has Rye's eyes that are just kind of propped up there. There's a hand-drawn image of Rye laughing with an elven figure. There's what looks to be a frame or dress up there. It's just a lot of pictures. There's one kind of higher up that would look to be about a 6-month-old Rye and a 2.5-month-old, or not 2.5, but 2.5-year-old Steady. And behind it is a picture of a book. And inscribed across the front of the book is "The path to excellence is both steadfast and mocking." And so I'm going to walk in and just kind of like motion vaguely towards the food and help yourself. I'm going to summon the trunk and start pulling out all of my clothes and going over to the wardrobe and pulling out clothes that look very, very similar, but to Rye, there's some subtle but important differences.
I'm going to walk over to the pictures and just like bypass the dude. That's not the focus. And see what books are present, what type of books and scrolls are present, because you always learn someone based off the books that they have on their bookshelf and the pictures that they have on their walls.
Most of the books are actually, they look more like training books, like primers on different languages. And there's some sort of fiction books, but she really does not have a whole lot in this space.
Any pictures of House that I see? Cool. I really want to see this guy.
I will say you probably also noticed that there's some pictures shoved behind the wardrobe as well.
While she's frantically looking around, am I able to just like, slide them out without being conspicuous and just
Make a sleight of hand check.
cautiously? Natural 20.
Of course.
All right.
Yes.
33.
Yeah, very, very subtly, you're able to slide those out and get a little bit better view. Rye, what does he find?
There's two, and on one side is an elven man with dark hair, and in the first one is a little drow boy who looks very, very angry, and in the second one is a little drow boy who's older, has grown up and has figured out how to hide that anger, but it's still in his eyes. He's got dark skin, darker than Rye's. His hair is shockingly white, and in the older one, it's faded on the side and a little bit longer on the top, and he has these like pale, pale violet eyes.
I'm going to just let those back. Step back into a corner and just take it in a little bit. Close my eyes and just think back to my life. I'm going to look over at Rye and say, Rye, where do you call home?
She's gonna kind of be like, I feel like we've discussed this already. And just open her arms up and be like, I mean, not this room. Obviously, this room is a place that I sleep, but the library and, my being here, this is home. Where I've come home.
This is a transition place, isn't it? Do you spend more time on the road or actually in the library?
I spend quite a bit of time away.
It really is a lovely sanctum. A very pristine room.
Yeah.
May I ask you a question?
Of course.
Does the fact of staying somewhere too long, how does that sit on you?
I have absolutely no idea how to sit still, darling. I've been moving since I was born. Can you imagine me sitting still? Ugh, stagnate.
Stagnant? Yes. Stagnant? Maybe. But still and stagnant aren't always the same thing, are they?
Perhaps not, but I have absolutely no idea what I would do with myself if I wasn't out there.
I think I can understand that to an extent. I wonder for myself sometimes if I go so much because I'm running from something. Or if I'm running to something. Funny how those two things can oftentimes masquerade as one another.
I'd like to present a third that I'm running for something.
As long as that's actually the reason, and not the means of justifying a heart that's scared. And I'm going to look in the mirror if there is one.
Actually, no.
Very good. And I'll look out the window.
You see books.
That's okay. It's just not looking in the space. You have a good family from what it seems.
They're wonderful. Aunt Lonnie was actually not sure she even wanted us whenever we first came here. She had just retired and she was like, oh, I don't know that I can handle children.
I'm curious if she had more energy than you to be able to keep up with you.
According to Auntie Key said that Aunt Lonnie swore up and down she didn't want us, and then we showed up there and she couldn't let us go.
Seems about right.
Yeah.
Definitely seems about right.
I think she was dealing with her own broken heart and found something different to fill it.
It's funny how that seems to run around. Gifts are given oftentimes, whether you actually see the gifts and take advantage of the gift that the giver gives, or if you just let it go by. Yeah. What are you running for, Rye?
The library. Ever and always the library. It has loved me deeply and consistently, and it has chosen me so many times. I will choose it first every time.
I have no doubt of that, looking at the books and all the languages. I have no doubt of that. I do hope you actually get to go sit down for an hour with your aunts for supper. So I am curious, why the hesitation? I'm gonna smile and chuckle.
Oh, they worry. The whole situation with Bilal was quite a fuss up. And so I would rather have that resolved and come back with everything settled rather than them learning of it and then me having to leave again.
Yeah, I'd say that they'd probably respond that that's their job to worry and it doesn't bother them too much. And whether they know or don't know, they're worrying about you all the same, but just the moment that they have with you, knowing that you live a adventurous and exciting and dangerous life. I think they'd enjoy that, even if they worry.
The situation with Bilal took a lot out of them. And we're only 4 years past it, so.
Mentioned that twice now. What was the situation with Bilal? I feel like I'm coming in behind the 8 ball, not knowing what this is referencing.
I did not actually know that I had a devil as a progenitor. I mean, all tieflings have a devil somewhere in their lineage. That's what makes us tieflings. But I was not aware that I had an actual devil for a progenitor until about 4 years ago. Nor was I aware that that same devil is the reason I ended up at the library in the first place, because he was chasing my mother. So we discovered him accidentally. Alston and I had traveled through Dis, and he apparently, someone sensed the fact that someone of his bloodline still lived, and so he attempted to do what he had meant in the first place by creating a bloodline. My mother was herself a child of experimentation. She was in a long period of time where he was trying to figure out if there was any way he could create essentially a living phylactery using his bloodline. And it was a double play, because not only do you have a place to store your power, you also have a soul you can consume when you need more. And apparently, some 50, 60 years ago, he got in a fight with somebody and decided he needed that which he had already put away. And so he chased down my mother, pregnant with her only child at the time. And then we ended up with the library, thanks to running across an archivist. And all of this, again, was unknown to me. And then about 4 years ago, Alston and I traveled through Dis, and well, I wasn't in Dis by the time Bilal found out about it, and so since he couldn't take my body and soul, he attempted to take my soul. And thankfully, because I have a cousin who is tightly bonded to me, he was able to maintain that little bit of a connection, and because I have a partner who is faithful like the sunrise, he chased after me. And when he arrived at the library, at the place that Bilal had me, he used library magic. Archivists are able to bind artifacts of power to try and make it easier to bring them back to the library for storage. And he requested to do such a thing with me. And because the library loves me, it did.
Steady did this? You said your cousin.
Steady remained here. Our bond is very tight, and so he was anchoring what little thread remained connected.
And House pursued you.
With that team he did not really need.
I'm going to point at the picture of what looks like Rye with parents, and I'm going to ask, so is this a picture of
My mother, who survived long enough to get herself and her sister, who died in the passage, away with her nephew, and my father, who died giving us a chance to actually get out of the village whenever the initial attack happened.
courageous and wonderful people?
Yes. I'll point to the man and I say jubilation. I'll point to the woman and I say brilliance.
And names the personalities of both.
That's the names. Jubilation and brilliance.
Well, it sounds like your spirit takes after both of them.
I don't know. I hope so.
Yes, I do believe it does. I'm sorry I had to undergo such a I'm just gonna get lost in space and time for a little bit and snap back. I'm sorry.
I could never have wished for that to be my history, but I am glad that this is my present.
Yes, absolutely. It still is no fun when great evils and terrors happen upon you or the people that you love. Once again, it goes back to the blessings along the way. You know, the people help ground you and pull you out of dark places and bring you into better places.
Truly.
I think, if you don't mind, I would prefer not to linger here too much longer. Otherwise, I wish to go back and see a wonderful young lass that I probably am not able to, and have a crew to go check up on.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I do think I've gathered everything I need. Oh, I should grab a tin of Giant's coffee before we leave. I'm almost out. But otherwise, we should be good.
I very much would like to hear about Oust sometimes. Being here has made me rather curious. I went from disdaining the man to abundance of curiosity and maybe a toleration.
Yes.
And I hope that you don't take that as an insult.
No, as I stated previously, that I don't know if you remember when we were in the Feywild, there was some information I had come across that I thought you might find useful in regards to the runes on the armor when we first ran across each other. It connects to that, not to ours specifically, but I do wish you would understand he does not hate you, he fears you. And it's because of those runes. Whenever I inquired with Study to see if he could get some more information from one of the librarians here, they referred me not to Study or to any sort of book, but they referred me to one of the high-level archivists named Haldwin. Does that sound familiar to you?
Lauren?
Oh, there's a smile.
Does this
History
sound
check.
familiar? Crap.
Point of order.
It does not.
I think I still have that armor.
I don't know if I
Something?
can give him advantage at all by saying he was likely quite young when you would have known him.
Okay, guards up. Not cool.
Everything was going just fine. It's no longer fine.
Had some character growth. Had some opening up, some breaking down of barriers.
I will accept that attempt to give him advantage. Sure.
Much better. History is going to be a 16.
16.
It's gone. Nope.
Nope.
Brought him back. Thank you, Rye. I was trying to figure out how to deal with this new character. No.
Albert,
Yep.
it's been a long time.
Mhm.
You're pretty sure you had a great uncle, Haldwin. But that's way too old. For Rye saying that he would have been young, maybe very young, when you would have known. But it's a family name.
I'm going to look very curiously at Rye. Haldwin.
Oh, I have a picture of him. Hang on. And I'm going to go to the portraits that are behind the wardrobe and pull them out, and I'll point to the elf and say, Haldwin.
Little drow kid?
Nope, the elf.
Okay.
Halberd, you're looking at it a little closer. And before, your attention had been much more clearly focused on the drow. But as you're looking at the young elven man, you've never seen him before, but you would swear he's a spitting image of your brother.
Great.
Hear it.
I was just so excited.
And on
The
that
drama's
note, we
free.
will go ahead and end the
Yeah.
session
Oh.
tonight.
See, I was waiting for that too. Just like, oh man, Lauren's about to drop something and then we're going to end.
Fail.
No, by hell, that's the.
So thank you for joining us for our session tonight. Thank you for coming along on this adventure with us. As you go throughout this week, we hope you stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourself. Come back and see us next time as we continue these shenanigans and figure out where this is going to go. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.
God.